Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we are back to the witness. We are at 506 plus 74 puzzles and I have decided to give up for now on the challenge puzzle. So I'm just going to put in the code. I found it online, so here's what it is. You go around the edges here and then you come back around and you come back here and you go around here and you go down there. A scheme by Professor Moriarty, The Secret Psalm of 46. Interesting. Is this gonna be a Sherlock Holmes spin-off story? I've never seen, I don't recall a Psalm of 46 in the original books.
How many of you here have personally witnessed a total eclipse of the sun? To stand one day in the shadow of the moon is one of my humble goals. Was over 30 years ago. On February 26, 1979, a solar eclipse passed directly over the city of Portland. I bought my bus tickets and found a place to stay, but in the end, I couldn't get the time off work. Well, anyone who lives in Portland can tell you that the chances of catching the sun in February are pretty slim. And sure enough, the skies over the city that day were completely overcast. I wouldn't have seen a thing. That work I couldn't get out of was my first job out of college. A sales clerk at an old Radio Shack store in beautiful downtown Worcester, Massachusetts. On my very first day behind the counter, a delivery truck pulled up to the front of the store. They carried in a big carton upon which was printed the legend TRS-80. It was our floor sample of the world's first mass-market microcomputer. The TRS-80 Model 1 had a Z80 processor clocked at 1.7 MHz, 4,096 bytes of memory, and a 64-character black and white text display. The only storage was a cassette recorder. All this could be yours for the low, low price of $599. The store I was working in had seen better days. At one time, it had been near the center of a thriving commercial district. But like so many other New England cities,
is there something
by the early 70s
here?
Turned it into a ghost town. Worcester's solution
this
to this
is
problem
obviously the thing.
Was apparently decided that if they couldn't beat them, they would join them. And so, several square blocks at the heart of the
Oh God.
$599.
Oh God. You've got to sit here and listen to the whole thing.
It had been near the center of a thriving commercial district.
You gotta listen to the whole thing.
Cities, the advent of shopping malls had, by the early 70s, turned it into a ghost town. Worcester's solution to this problem was decisive, to say the least.
So after having to solve 11 puzzles in under 7 minutes, which
and so several square blocks at the heart of the city were bulldozed into oblivion, destroying dozens of family businesses, including the site of the pharmacy once operated by my great-grandfather. In their place was erected a vast 3-level shopping complex with cinemas and a food court. When the dust settled, only a few forlorn blocks of the old Worcester remained standing. My Radio Shack store was in one of those blocks. Then, to add insult,
it's already too high. Dude, you have to
inside the shopping center.
You have to get this.
Feet from my store.
So I'm not gonna do it. I'm just not gonna do it. I'm gonna say,
had a choice.
Look here. You see, it rounds into a solar eclipse right there. But you've got to sit here And as soon as it gets to this point, just a second here, you then have to connect it.
How many of you here have personally witnessed
See how it
a
moves
total
you?
eclipse of the sun? To stand one day in the shadow of the moon is
And
one
then
of
you
my
just
humble
gotta
goals
wait.
in life. The closest I ever came was over 30
You have
years
to wait
ago.
until
On February 26,
the
1979, a
sun
solar eclipse passed
comes
directly over the
to
city of Portland.
under
I bought
here.
my bus tickets and found a place to stay, but in the end,
It's just
I
so
couldn't get the time
ridiculous.
off work. Well, anyone who lives in Portland can tell you that the chances of catching the sun, and sure
This is
enough,
just
the skies over the
ridiculous.
city that day.
And this one doesn't make any sense at all. And this one doesn't really make any sense. As we start zooming way back, does that solve anything? Now that we have these areas open, perhaps that is an intention.
Complicated parts of the direction. So I wish to illustrate by this example that an understanding of the physical laws doesn't give you an understanding, you know.
One of these, I think you have to run really far, but I'm not sure how far, really. Probably not that far, as long as you've got this section open. Let's see. I rewound that to the very beginning, I shouldn't have.
There's a level, there's another level, and another level. Or the standard.
So this, I highly suspect, is the right solution. So let's talk about the challenge for a moment. So it turns out on the PlayStation 4, you can put the PlayStation 4 in suspended sleep and take a screenshot, and from that screenshot solve the puzzle and then resume the game. On the PC, however, not so lucky. You cannot alt tab out. Maybe you could crash the game, but then I don't think it would autosave with the music. And
science to give all the answers to the wonderful questions about what we are, where we're going, what the meaning of the universe is, and so on, then I think you could easily become disillusioned and then look for some mystic answer to these problems. How a scientist can take a mystic answer, I don't know, because the whole spirit.
this is funny. This is the solution.
But anyhow,
But the camera's got to adjust.
if you think of it, though, the way I think of what we're doing is we're exploring. We're trying to find out as much as we can about the world. People say to me, "Are you looking for the ultimate laws of physics?"
This is so silly.
I'm just looking to find out
Messing
more
with
about
all
the world.
these
If it turns out there is
for
a
the
single
perception
ultimate law that
puzzles.
explains everything, so be it. That would be very nice to discover. If it turns out it's like an onion with millions of layers and we're just sick and tired of looking at the layers, then that's the way it is. But whatever way it comes out, its nature is there, and she's going to come out the way she is. And therefore, when we go to investigate it, we shouldn't pre-decide what it is we're trying to do, except to find out more about it. If you say, but your problem is,
just
why
these
do you find out
plants.
more about it? If you thought that you were trying to
These
find out
dumb
more about it,
plants.
you're going to get an answer.
And
to
it
some
has to be this one.
deep philosophical question. You may be wrong. It may be that you can't get an answer to that particular question by finding out more about the character and nature. But I don't look at
I don't
my-
think there would be a
my
reason that
interest
you
in
would
science
need
is
to
to
look
simply
straight
find out
down on the black and white
more
one.
I find out,
part of this. This, I think, is the.
There are very
Let's see.
remarkable mysteries about the fact that we're able to do so many more things than apparently animals can do.
So
There are
there's
other
the
questions
camera
like
has
that, but those
changed.
are mysteries I want to investigate without knowing the answer to them. And so altogether, I can't believe the special stories that have been made up about our relationship to the universe at large. Because
I looked also
they seem to be
in the subtitle files. I would
too
say their
simple, too
files on this game seem a little strange, like there might be
the earth came
some
to the earth.
secret hidden in them.
One of the aspects of God came to the
Either
earth.
that or just the programming
And
is
look at
just
what's
plain
out there. I mean,
text
it isn't
for
in
some of
proportion.
the lesser changeable variables, but I would
Anyway,
suspect
it's no use arguing.
it
I
seems
can't
like
argue.
some of the
I'm just
things
trying
that
to
look
get
like they would be
why in the
programming
scientific views that
uh,
I do have some effect.
config files are
But
actually
also another thing,
not.
you know,
I can tell
has
you
to
that
do
the
with
number of
question how do you find out if
videos
something's true?
seeming to
If you
be
have all
shown
these
is
theories
the number we've
about
seen,
different
that
religions
there's
have all
not
different theories about it.
an
Then you
extra
begin to
group
wonder,
of
once you
them.
start doubting, just like you're supposed to doubt. You ask me if the science true. Or
But
something.
yeah, I don't
You
think
know
I'm
it.
ever going to get the
Trying to find
challenge
out if
achievement.
everything is possibly wrong.
I
Start
think
out
that's
understanding
asking too
religion by
much.
saying everything is possibly
There
wrong,
was
and
a
you'll see.
whole
As soon as you do that,
another
you
set
start
of
sliding
puzzles
down
after
bands, which
getting
is
through the room
far
with
from
the
it.
floor that lifts up.
So with the
There was
scientific
puzzles that
method,
wrapped
as
around the
far as
columns of that,
what's true and
and
maybe
I just couldn't do it.
may
I
not be.
just,
Once you start
I
doubting,
don't
which I think
see
to me is a
myself
very
wasting
fundamental part of my
days and days
soul, is to
trying
doubt
over and over
and
again.
ask. And when you doubt
In
and ask,
fact,
it
I
gets a little
more
harder.
by far see myself
You see,
starting to wrap up this,
one thing
playing this
is I
series
can live
altogether,
with doubt
just
and
giving up.
uncertainty and not knowing. I think it's much more interesting to live not knowing than to have answers which might be wrong. I have approximate answers and possible beliefs and different degrees of certainty about different things, but I'm not absolutely sure of anything. And then many things I don't know anything
There the
about.
camera angle changed
What that
again,
means,
but it's not going to be his
ask
face.
why we're here.
It's going to be
What the
right
question might mean. I might think about it a little bit. If I can't figure it out,
lined up with
something else. But I don't have to know an answer.
Lined up with-
I don't feel frightened by not knowing things. By being lost in a mysterious universe without having any purpose, which is the way it really is, as far as I can tell, possible. It doesn't frighten me.
It looks like it's the last scene, too. It looks like that last little cutscene is where you make that circle. So, I really don't think I can get all the perception puzzles either. When we have the middle one here, number 4, being the challenge one that I cheated to get this code. And that perception puzzle would take forever. And let's see. We found the one that was in this one. We found the one that was in this one. We know where the one is in this one. So we know where all of them are, except for this one. Hmm. Yeah, except for this one, I have no idea. So if I was to... This one has to be the green. No, we already did the green. So it has to be... like... Thanks for that game. Like a purple with this.
Empty,
I
luminous
suppose
presence
there kind of
of
is
awareness.
a angle there.
Open, because you say yes, unconditionally and indiscriminately, to all appearances of the mind, body, and world. Right? Empty.
So what was the deal with her?
That's what my teacher said to me. Discovering the reverberation of that. And it's simply stop looking for what you want. Not cynically stop looking for what you want. Because there's a way of stopping.
Like, I bet there's one in every video, but boy am I not having fun trying to find them. See, and you can kind of see through that step there.
And you will find more than what you could ever want. Because more than what can be wanted is already who you are. It's too simple to be grasped. But absolutely, completely realizable. If, and it is a huge
Yeah, there's
if,
just no way that that's gonna be
you're willing to give up your
her.
hope that what you want will be found in the next thought, or the next activity,
Or these
or the
slots.
next day, or the next man, or the next woman, or the next teaching, or the next experience. So that's huge. That's the challenge. And I've blessedly traveled to Australia to challenge you.
When we're really far away, we can go as far back as about this. And then we are at such a different angle. I wish there was more tunnels here, honestly. Yeah, and I don't see anything here that matches up.
We just keep trying to think it a little better, squeeze some life. Is that clear? It is? So that's really the basis of what I have to say. It's not a teaching. It's not a belief system. It's not a way to live your life. It's not a should stop. It's not an if you stop, you will be rich.
And I wonder, there must be just perception puzzles that didn't get finished and got left in the game. And that's really I have to describe them. This is officially going to be the last time I bothered ever recording, messing with any of these things. I have others, a few other things I want to do.
Explains everything. So be it. That would be very nice to discover. If it turns out it's like an onion with millions of layers and we're just sick and tired of looking at the layers, then that's the way it is. But whatever way it comes out, its nature is there and she's going to come out the way she is. And therefore, when we go to investigate it, we shouldn't pre-decide what it is we're trying to do, except to find out more about it.
So,
If you say, but your problem is, why do you find out more about it? If you thought that you were trying to find out more about it because you want to get an answer to some deep philosophical
trying to
question,
just
you
get
may
a
be
circle
wrong. It
here.
may be that you can't get an answer to that particular question by finding out more about it.
and then we're gone.
But I don't look at it. My
I've spent
interest
too
is
much
to
time.
simply find out about
This is exactly what I thought was going to happen with any big puzzle game. Now, the beauty of covering a game like Myst is I've played that game at least 2 or 3 times.
questions like that.
There's no
Those are
way
mysteries I want to
I'm
investigate
going
without
to
knowing the answer.
get
And so altogether, I can't
incredibly
believe the
stuck
special stories that
on
are
Myst.
about our relationship to the universe at large. Because they seem to
That's
be
just not realistic, a realistic
too
thing.
simple, too
Uh,
connected.
Plus, I could
Too
look
local,
through
too provincial.
walkthroughs, and
The earth, it came to the
honestly,
earth.
I probably will
One
come back
of
at
the
this
aspects of
game
God
at
changes
some
the
point
earth, mind you.
and
Look
do
at what's out there, how
walkthroughs
many-
and
it
just
isn't
try to get everything.
proportional.
But some of the things, like the challenge, even through a walkthrough, is
Anyway,
not going to
it's
be
no
that
use
helpful.
arguing. I can't argue. I'm just trying to tell you why the scientific views that I
Maybe I could
have
use
some effect.
that on that
But
side.
also another thing has to do with the question of how do you find out if something's true? And if you have all these theories of the different religions have all different theories about the thing.
So we know at this point
Once you start
that
doubting
these
what you're
videos
supposed to
didn't
doubt,
mean
you ask me if
diddly
science
to
is true,
them.
I say, no, we don't know what's true. We're trying to find
They
out.
picked these
Because
videos
you
at
start
random,
out understanding religion
kind
by
of
saying
for their
anything's possible,
content,
let us see.
and
As soon as you do that, you
mostly
start
because they
sliding down
had
an edge,
elements
which is
in
not
the
where we come
footage
from.
that
So
was
with the scientific
uh,
people, my father
that they could where they could make a circle puzzle. That's all they cared about.
once you start doubting,
Inherently, I guess that's the best review of this game in general. Is all they care about are circle puzzles, perception puzzles.
it gets a little harder.
They don't
Believe.
give
You see,
2 shakes.
one thing is I can live with doubt and uncertainty and not knowing. I think it's much more interesting to live not knowing than to have answers which might be wrong. I have approximate answers and possible beliefs and different degrees of certainty about different things, but I'm not absolutely sure of anything. And then many things I don't know anything about, such as whether it means anything to ask, why we're here, and what the question
Oh, I
might
bet I
mean.
have to be up
But if I can't
higher.
figure it out, then I go to something else. But I don't have to know an answer. I don't feel frightened by not knowing things. By being lost in a mysterious universe without having any purpose, which is the way it really is as far as I can tell possible. It doesn't frighten me.
Like, I'm trying so hard to find the circle there, and I'm not seeing the circle. Whatever, let's get out of here. That was 23 more minutes. It's just... So, what are we doing? We need to find an obelisk and see if we can find one that would be fillable. And I would suspect heavily this one is not the right one. That this one is going to have all kinds of things that we want to fill. And like, here's the puzzle we were just trying to do, here's the yellow puzzle, here's one, and there's the eclipse one. So, on top of the 3 puzzles there, this one is just full. So this area is now off limits as far as I'm concerned. We don't need to deal with that. Also, I want to try to avoid doing incredibly slow boat rides. If the obelisk points me to something that makes me think maybe there's a boat ride, I will consider it, but first things first, I want to just find an obelisk that is close to being full though. Oh, and I want to get here too. Was that the right place? No, I don't know why I did that. Let's start with this. I think we already solved all those over there in the entry area. Be nice if I knew how many plus puzzles there were. That would be really nice. Fortunately, I don't. And I'm not sure I ever will. We were in the city, we should have powered up that. Okay, that's the sound place, I don't know. I don't even remember where I'm... Let's see, so... I'm trying to remember here which section is which. Would it make sense to do observation puzzles in the mountain? Probably not. I also want to go... Well, actually, because I looked at the subtitles... There's a crashed boat. Because I looked at the subtitles, I actually now know that the ending subtitles are not something that changes. Unless, of course, the subtitles are actually a big red herring too, and they're integrated directly into the game. See, that's the issue, is that it really doesn't stop anybody from, if they want to put every single bit of their game in the exe file. So there's no explanation or reason that says you have to do it a different way. Let's see. So there are several puzzles here, but I have to lower this puzzle, and I don't know how to do that. Let's see if I can solve this puzzle a different way. Let's see. This, if we went this way, that works. So I guess these are gates. And I guess it won't behoove me to... I think I have to look at all these from the mountain sides too. Alright. Now, I don't believe there's a way to isolate just the central section. So probably before I wander too far, it'd be nice if I could find some circles. There's all kinds of circles here. And I know some of these are correct. See if we get totally stuck. I guess I can't be totally stuck, can I? This is the gate, one of the last few gates, or the last gate. I didn't know that there was a whole section here. Of course, I may have to use the boat to get back to that point. Let's see, up, higher. I want to go. I didn't realize that there was another path that integrated here. Alright. So we can see this, but from this angle it's too high. Again, is this really the right? Here we go. I've got to solve it from here, I guess. Alright. It's not crazy. Well, it is crazy, but... I probably can get a little bit closer here to solving this. Does that even help me to get closer? I don't think it really does. If I could just get this to raise, but that's like right in the water. If there was like a way to drain the water. Yeah, I can't. Wish there was a boat location somewhere nearby. Think it would be kind of cool, yeah, if there was, oh, I don't know, a boat location next to another boat location. What am I missing? One, two, three, four. Alright, that one, I know what I did wrong. Where's the zoom button though? Where's the zoom? I think I went one too high there. Why can't I see it? Do I need to lower my resolution on my monitor? There, one. Well, maybe it's not clicking in because maybe I can't reach the little nub. Maybe I'm not going all the way down. Well, let's see. What do we got to do now? If we run this way along the coastline, there is a pier over here. So it's not incredibly far away, I guess. I think the area where we want to get the perception puzzles, once we stop kind of goofing around like I am right now, and I think the area where I want to fill in one obelisk is gonna be near the desert and the start area. I think that's a good, we have a decent chance of reaching what we're trying to reach there. Although, you never know. There could be some obelisk in the middle. It feels like there's 4 or 5 in the middle of the map. I would hope there's 4 or 5 in the middle of the map to just absorb some of the things. Like there's one here, there's one here, there's one here. Is that all I can think of? No, there's one here in the tree forest. That's another potential exciting prospect for an area. Alright, so we gotta do a couple things before we really mess up here. Start with drawing this. And there seems to only be 2 ways that could be solved. And then what is over here? Okay, so this gate does connect back up here, just in case, I guess, you were trapped. And this one will go over here and help out with that. See, that circle and that circle look like they make a shadow. Let's put these together. Yep, perception puzzle here. In fact, there's quite a few perception puzzles in this area that we can just make use of and get. I'm standing on it myself. Darn it. My own shadow was in the way. Let's go ahead and take this. Doing this very awkwardly. I don't want my shadows in the way. So this tree allows you to go all the way this way. And that's it. Same is true for the other one. Make sure I'm not in the way. There we go. Couple more. It really is almost like two games at once. When this red goes into that, does it change the color any? I don't think it does. I don't think it does. That wouldn't make a lot of sense. I desperately need to keep that though. That single bridge on both sides. Okay. So it's pretty obvious why we need this to move, why this controller's here. But I kind of wish there was a controller on both sides. You have to wait for it to go through the blue to... We'll leave by boat, so I think that's fine. Is there anything else in here that might be an observation puzzle? I don't think so. But I do need to be more thorough, just in general. What I've been looking at and what I've been doing. All I see under here is a bunch of red. When I come up here, I want to get to that doorway. And I bet it is there, and I've just been missing it. The only other thing I could think of would be opening maybe a pathway over here. I mean, there wouldn't be a pathway over here. Opening that wouldn't help. Let's see. Is that a perception puzzle? No. Alright, we want this solution, which I can't even see these. Perhaps the bright colors have finally just worn my eyes out. I don't know. Like, none of these go any further down or seem to do anything else. And there's no way you could have more than 2 of these. Well, yeah. So I don't think I've ever seen this one be down. And I don't think I've ever seen that one be down, but it really doesn't matter. Here it is. Good, good, good. So, I guess it's no wonder why I kept missing these sections. Here we go. I need to include, I guess what I just need to do is then etch out something like this. That's all I need to do. Good. Gate open. We now have a secondary way to get up here. We now know that there's nothing over here. We now see this is, and let's just make sure there's no like perception puzzles from this angle. I've really given up on a lot of them. Things like looking in the sky, just dreaming and hoping that there's gonna be something. If it doesn't look like there's something at this point, I'm just giving up. Let's see, moving on to the next thing. We do know there's a couple more perception puzzles. I don't think there's one over here. All these colored platforms don't really jive with that. So what am I looking at right when I get out of there? I'm looking at the spun cage under the things. So what, I could spin it again? Maybe try to make a shadow puzzle? Let's go up here and look at it and see if I think there might be something here. Yeah, we do have this. So if we need to ignore and but separate those, and then keep these together. Like, that light could potentially make a circle if we spun this right. And this is that does look like an end piece there. Well, we're almost going a full circle here, so yeah, I think there is a solution. Let's see, are we seeing anything different now? Not particularly. When we go over here, are we seeing anything? Nope, but that's alright, that's cool. We'll take this. Gotta get the solid orange here. As orange as possible for this one. And then gotta get over here as yellow as possible for this one. Couple more perception puzzles done. And then up here, do I think there's something? No. Alright. So it's rather strange. We still have to play by the rules and isolate the pieces. What is it connecting right now? Purple and blue? But we're already at purple and blue. So the next thing we would want would be... Well, I can start on different sides. I guess that helps. Probably helps quite a bit. And I can go on different sides too. So, trying to keep an eye out for shadows. This looks like that would work. Hmm. Of course, if I solve it that way, does it always turn the same way, or does it? It seems to be controlled based on the exit. So, I don't think. I think you have to be careful. Otherwise, you'll just end up going the wrong direction. Which usually doesn't matter, but I think for this puzzle particularly, it is gonna matter. Alright. So I need this blue and purple and to exit the other direction. And I hope this works. Darn it. Nope. So I have to stand here, I suppose. Like, where am I gonna stand? I think this is the right way to stand. Right now my shadow's in the way, but I think eventually it moves to the right point. Like, well, that kind of moves that way. Maybe I need to be over here. Alright. So, this circle in the next turn needs to cross that shadow. I think that is this. Alright, so let's set it up. No, that's the wrong way. See, this corner piece needs to connect with this other piece. Man. See, like, this here needs to start and go. This way. To this corner piece. I am standing in the wrong place, and this needs to be blue and purple to begin with, and then exit this way. Blue and black. I don't know what I'm saying. Blue and purple for? So that's the right way that we need to exit. And that's almost what we want to do as far as the solution. When we are between purple and red, that's when one of those ends, I think, shows up. And I need to be standing over here. We are now at blue and black. We want to go to purple and blue, and we want to do it in the direction we just did. Good. And this is not the solution. Now that is the solution. Good. Would this line ever cross and become its own thing? I don't think it would. I really don't think so. What we would have to do now, I think, is connect it to black and red to start with. And then go in this direction. So that exit on the circle. And see if that solution changes anything. And would I be standing in the wrong position? It's hard to tell. Let's see. So we want to start here and end up at purple and red, and then that way. And we're hoping, since the shadows shouldn't change, that this is still the right position. Oh, because they're single Tetris pieces, I guess that's why they still require. No, I really don't understand this puzzle. When I think about it, there's definitely something off about it. Let's move a little bit closer. Hope this works. Stand here and nope. Nope, that wouldn't work. It just wouldn't. Because we would totally lose everything then. So let's just reconnect everything here and connect this. And I think we're done with this area. At about the right time too. Well, no, we're not completely done with this area, but let's just hop off here. We've got a couple of things to do. Starting with this, we can hopefully very... see, if I go back this way, then yeah. Now run. Run up here to this. Wonder if I could open both of them. I don't think I can. Doesn't seem like there'd be any way. Let's see, down this way, down this way, down this way. Run up it here. Now, I think inherently you'd have trouble either way you went with this. Ideally, I think your solution is designed around this. Come on, come on, come on. This inner circle one is the one that's the race. Yeah, there was one where you had to get them both. And then there's one over here. Where do they go? They all go to the obelisk. So that's like 5 observation puzzles that we did. But we're right here near the underground section too, so how many more? Anything near the mountain is just doomed forever to be well, I mean, maybe not. It was the challenge that was in the mountain. Now that I think about it, so we might have all the, or have the opportunity to get all the observations things in the mountain. Let's see. If we continued that way, what's that way? That could be the forest or the, I suspect some of those are forest things. Let's see, circle, circle, sweep, sweep, sweep. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. None here. 7 and 8 over here in the forest. I can see one of them right there. Let's see. How do I get over there? Come on, this has to be it. How else would I ever get those to line up? You have to be, it has to be right. Like, that doesn't line up there. It only lines up here. Lost it. How did I lose it? I was looking straight at it. Did the clouds move? No, the clouds don't move. Or do they move? Is that why I haven't been able to find any cloud solutions? Is that they actually move? No, it's not that they move. It's something else. It's gotta be... It's gotta be something else. See, that's part of it, but I've got to put something else in front of it, like a tree or something. Oh, and that's a problem, isn't it? Isn't that just the problem with all these perception puzzles? Is like right here, it's right there, and we just can't get it to work for us. So I don't know if I'm gonna ever be able to fill out any obelisks at this rate. It feels like too much work. Feels like too much hassle, too much struggle. Too much messing around, walking around, trying to get clouds to line up for one silly thing that might not even be the right thing. Well, as I head off into the sunset, let's see. Let's look at the map. We're running just a little bit long now. I have definitely am having trouble putting this game down. It needs to be put down like a dog in a lot of ways, but let's see, here and here and here Uh, let's take a moment and just look at our puzzle solved. 509 and 83 plus 83. I think we could go all the way. Notice how that cloud is just strangely round. Not all the way, but I think we could go to 600. We saw there was probably 6 right there on that obelisk alone. I think if we found all the obelisks, then looked at them, we know where like 3 more are in the perception in the movie theater. Let's see. Do I need to try and do this? It was a different color when I highlighted it that time, but I don't know what that means, if it means anything. Oddly enough, it's the silly what I think is a shadow puzzle that is here. Let's see, that I haven't figured out. As far as I can recall, there are no more doors. We've opened all the doors. We've found all the shortcut paths I can imagine. We just kind of need to find the obelisks now. I can't really see myself spending too much more time. Here's your Braid reference sandcastle from the cover, apparently. Like, this room is like the only thing I don't understand. It's the only thing I haven't seen any kind of close reference to. There's no gameplays that's even somewhat similar to that. This obelisk could potentially be filled. This one could. It's not asking that much. All we need to do is walk that way and find that puzzle, which I'm pretty sure I know that it's that shade puzzle, and then walk that way and make a straight line puzzle and a curve puzzle. Really, that way. Interesting. Interesting that there's 2 puzzles that way and yet nothing that way. And then over here is just the temple. So there's like 1 more in the temple. I think we can work on this. I think we can do this. Anywho, 509 and 83. I would love to get, let's see, how many more do we need? 8 more. If we get 8 more perception puzzles, we're over 600. And I think that is a fair job. when somebody comes back and says there are actually 500, we've seen 510 puzzles because there's one I couldn't solve. Plus, there's the challenge thing that I didn't do. Now, I assume in that 83 is actually the secret exit because I did watch that now. I don't think there are any more videos. I don't think there's any more story. Yeah, we're getting close to the end. Anywho, that's it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment if you want to, and watch every second of my videos. All that helps me out. If you want to support me, you can click on my name, Rydo. On the right will be a blue button that says support this channel. Click it, make a donation. And if you want to friend or follow me on basically any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.